Alright, so I'm just waiting for the stream to update here, make sure we're actually online, but yeah, anyways, welcome back. Sorry I started a little bit later than usual, approximately 30 minutes later than usual. Welcome back to the Friday Open Studio design session here. Again, if you're new around here, this is really intended to be a working session, so you can be working on your own creative projects of any sort while I work on mine. Really, the intent is to have kind of an open studio atmosphere. And so I apologize for starting late. I had some other things to attend to, so again, sorry for the delay if you were waiting. But yeah, this is it's an interesting time for me. The weather's getting warmer. It's late March, almost early April. It's approximately 75 degrees right now, so it's actually a little bit warmer than usual. So if my phone overheats and goes offline, I apologize for that, and we'll have to make do with what we have here. I'm not turning on the AC yet because it's not quite summer. I don't feel ready for that. But in any case, we are going to continue where we left off last time. We were working on a rapid prototype. So this is not the rapid prototype. Let me just grab what we were working on last time, so that you guys can see where we left off. This is not the plane in question. This is more the plane in question. I'm going to grab a bunch of materials related to this project and close the rest of the box there. Okay, so last time we were working on this rapid prototype RP005, or 005. 4 is the one with the forward sloped wing and the A-tail, which I still need to remake. It'll likely take a little while before I get those videos out, simply to the fact that I'm also planning on moving soon into a new place, which is also pretty exciting. Details of that are being settled right now, but hopefully in the next couple months I can actually set up shop and actually work on larger projects than these paper prototypes here. But that should be pretty exciting. You should be able to do some RC remote controlled projects, for aircraft, and who knows, maybe other things as well. But this is looking pretty clean so far. This is Rapid Prototype 005. Last time we built up this fuselage, this forward fuselage, and kind of just paneled everything into place. Again, this is a rapid prototype, so I'm not going to probably spend too much time on the aesthetics of it. This is not really a flagship project of any sort. This is mostly just a quick and dirty scratch build of sorts. This is really intended to be a flight model, so we prioritize finishing it quickly and actually going outside and flying this thing. So we're going to continue working on this. Again, today we are probably going to I don't remember what I exactly said last time, but we're probably going to install some sort of boom with the vertical stabilizers, design and build the boom with the vertical stabilizers for both sides, integrate that, and that'll probably be it for this design. It's a pretty straightforward aircraft, so I want to try and get this done today, but who knows if I'll need an extra session or two. Probably not two, probably at most I would say one more session, but today is looking pretty good. It's a good it's a good day in a relatively good mood. So hopefully we can actually, get all of this done. But we're just gonna go ahead and start fixing things up here. So there's a little bit of tape that's like lifting off, and it's not that bad of an issue. It's just we just have to tape it back down. And this is pretty rough for a rapid prototype, but I mean, actually for a rapid prototype, this is a little bit extra work compared to what we've done before, but it's yeah, there we go. That's a better view. But yeah, compared to like a flagship project, it's a little bit lacking in quality, which is to be expected because we want to fly this thing really soon. If not within the next month, definitely within the next 3 months over summer, because new places that I'm looking at will definitely have like an open field nearby where I can test out prototypes, not only for paper aircraft but also for potential RC projects. So that's like a huge aspect of this channel that I'm excited to kind of explore, is larger projects in general. And with those, I'm thinking about not necessarily doing a live stream every single week. I might do one once a month, and actually instead of live streaming, I was thinking about just making updates on projects, just like just a quick brief update video of sorts, and just keep you guys updated on projects that I'm working on. I feel like that would convey a lot more information, a lot more useful information about each project, and be a little bit more engaging, because that's how I've seen other channels do it. So I'll probably test that out as a way of making content going forward instead of these live streams. These live streams are pretty low effort. I do admit that, but it kind of got me making things, right? It kind of enabled me to create and not worry about production. But eventually, if I want this channel to grow, I need to become sort of a storyteller and actually convey a decent progression of how the project went. It's kind of like a show and tell, but have to be a little bit better, a little bit more concise, right? Nobody's gonna sit through a 2-hour 10-minute stream every single Friday. That's crazy. And actually the recent viewership of these live streams has gone down, so to me it's like, okay, well, that's just signaling that I need to put a little bit more effort into producing content. And it's hard when you're basically a hardware channel that focuses on design and incredible attention to detail in manufacturing and building. But there are channels out there that definitely do that and are able to produce decent videos. So I want to try and match that, but we'll see how far we get with that goal. But definitely, stay tuned. It's going to be pretty exciting in a couple months, incoming months, with because it's summertime. Things are slightly going back to normal with the vaccine coming out. People are going out more. Life is kind of resuming from from 2020, actually from 2019 almost. Yeah, no, actually 2020, yeah, last year. It's kind of when everything just went sideways. But yeah, should be exciting. New projects incoming. Basically have to set up shop though, so that might take a while, but hopefully during summer I can start building that workshop. So not only like the actual aircraft and the projects, but also the infrastructure behind it is pretty important. So we'll be working on that, or at least I will, and hopefully the plan is to really not necessarily do a live stream every week, but instead every month produce like maybe 2 maximum update videos regarding either the workspace or projects. So that's kind of the basic idea here. So that's kind of an update on my thoughts going forward. I don't think it makes sense to necessarily do a live stream that the majority of people don't watch. Again, it's too lengthy, right? I do recognize that, and not a lot of information is conveyed unless you pay attention to every single second, which is a lot to ask for because people don't have that long of an attention span. But who knows, like maybe when I work on projects I'll do live streams, but I won't necessarily be instructing anything. I'll just be doing whatever I need to do, and I'll create separate update videos for each project or workspace update. It's getting real when you're when you're on the internet, when you're on your computer, and you're searching up ideas for how to set up a workshop and what tools you need and things like that. That's when it starts getting real, and to me that's been the last couple of days. I've just been like opening multiple tabs on Home Depot's website, and just looking at tools and planning where things are going where, things like that. It's probably going to be in the basement of my new place. I was planning on converting the garage, but it's a little bit small for a workshop. The basement is a little bit bigger, and it's relatively more climate controlled, so probably going to be there. Again, maybe divide up the workshop space into like a basement part where I actually make stuff, make parts and machine things, and then a garage where I store prototypes or integrate everything together, right? So this kind of makes sense. It's like kind of like a factory of sorts, right? You have individual companies that make the parts, which is probably going to be my basement, as an analogy to real life, right? Making parts in the basement, machining things, the heavy duty cutting, sanding, things like that for RC airplanes, and then the actual integration will be upstairs in the garage, which this new place I'm looking at does have a lot of problems, right? It's not the newest looking, so I'll have to redo a lot of the walls in terms of paint and things like that. But overall, I'm really excited to potentially move into this new place. It's not final yet, but I have a good feeling about this one. There's a huge field nearby. That's one of the plus sides of the location that I'm looking at. So we can do a lot more flight tests without kids running all over the place. I always feel scared when I fly my prototypes because sometimes kids run and they're kind of unpredictable where they're going to be. And with my planes, they're a little bit heavier than usual, like paper airplanes, and they have very sharp tips. So it's like, yeah, I would like to not hit kiddos in the eye, in the face with my plane. That would suck and not be a good time with the parents. But in any sense, I'm just kind of excited about what's to come. It's just need to reconsider the types of content that I'm putting out. If I am to do these live streams, I'll probably create another channel specifically for these live streams, and this channel will go back to normal in the sense that I'll be making videos instead of live streams here. If you're interested in something like that, like the live stream and the open studio, that's a great idea, but I don't think many people will watch that, which is why I want to offload it to like maybe a separate channel that's related to this channel, but it's kind of like a sister channel of sorts. But there really is no, let's say, how do you explain it? There's no area for growth if I keep on uploading these live streams, right? So live streams, the idea is that you can have the environment, but it's really a secondary thing. It really shouldn't be a primary thing for this channel. Primary thing, I do still want to just make videos and share those, but it's it's a matter of production and getting the workflow down and being consistent about it. That's the huge downside, is the consistency in how you convey these stories. And yeah, definitely need to work on that, but plan going forward is to make update videos instead of live streams, and perhaps move the live streams to a separate channel than what I have currently. But who knows, maybe everything will be mixed and I'll just produce more content. But yeah, in any case, it looks like we've actually made the vertical stabilizers. I've been holding these vertical stabilizers in the frame for a while now, but it looks like we made these last time. I totally forgot about this. Haven't taken a look at the project at all since last week, but this looks good. We're just probably gonna mount this in place, like right here, and maybe build a fairing over it and then call it a day. This should be relatively straightforward, relatively quick, so I'm not expecting to make this a huge science project, but we do need to reinforce some of these edges here. So right now I'm just taping the leading edge of this. Right, so this vertical stabilizer is interesting in that I'm copying the wingtip shape of the kind of drop off edge here. I don't know why I didn't do that on the Rapid Pro, or on the YX10, the Astra. I should have. It kind of makes more sense, but I think I just like this. I like the other shape better. Again, that's kind of subjective. It's not based on any scientific calculation or performance numbers. So, again, just moving scraps off the table here. Yeah, definitely want to tape that edge there. So, again, this is a rapid prototype, so I'm not too concerned about the aesthetics of these things. Yeah, so sealed up all the edges here, which is good, and then I just got to do the same for this one. I would like to tape the front. Oh, okay, a little scrap piece there. Okay, that's that. And we're just gonna trim the excess a little bit. Not a huge problem here. Let me grab a length of tape. Just tape that up. Okay, so we are all set to go. See, rapid prototypes, they're really rapid, right? Like, we are going fast. That would have taken like a whole stream if it were for the Astra, which is right here, right? It's a different type of project. It's a lot more details. It's a lot more involved. It's a flagship project, so in that sense, I treat it like an opus, or yeah, magnum opus, great work. You know, it's like my flagship project. You know, so anyways, we're just gonna continue with this here, which is pretty quick. We're almost done. I have to say, like, this rapid prototype has better quality. Like, it is better in quality than my projects from way early in my YouTube days. This is so much better, honestly. Compared to the early days, this is totally different. But that said, it's not quite the perfect quality aircraft, you know, just like, I don't know. Just trying to explain it so that makes sense, but I don't think I'm actually being coherent right now, so apologies for that. Probably gonna do like a 60-degree angle from this side here. It's kind of hard to define these angles without actually creating structural components that are, you know, bent into shape like that. For us, for the purposes of this rapid prototype, we're probably just going to tape everything into place, which honestly sometimes it's the easiest, or actually all of the times it's the easiest way, but the only downside is that it doesn't allow for a lot of doesn't make sense. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it doesn't allow for, it's not necessarily definitive, right? It's not the best practice in terms of keeping something a certain shape over time, because you're relying on a piece of tape to maintain the position of your vertical stabilizer. So it's like, it's kind of sketchy. It's not the best engineering solution, but for our purposes, it does okay. Right, so kind of what I want to do here is tape that in place, and then yeah, so as you can see, it's very easy to rotate this thing, and you really need to do a good job at taping to really reinforce it and prevent it from rotating, because this thing, like right now, it's, you know, it's like shifting around. It's not the most reliable, but we are only using one piece of tape so far. If we add more, tape here, then it becomes a little bit more rigid, which is good. And then you just gotta do the same to the other side. Before we do that, I'm going to tape this side a little bit more. So one of the things that you can do for tape is that once you tape it a certain way, you can tape it perpendicular to that way. That'll prevent the original piece from coming apart too easily. Alright, it's a really windy day outside. It's like noisy. Sorry about that. You can almost hear the turbulence and whatnot, but there we go. Again, this is not too involved, hopefully. So we're just there we go. This is a little sketchy, but hopefully that's like a 60-degree angle. To me it looks fine, but I don't know, it's like kind of shifty. It's gonna be impacted on land. Okay, actually the way the plan form is configured right now, the trailing edges of the main wings actually form this chord line that protects the vertical stabilizer from any damage. So that's actually pretty neat. That was an accident. Like, I totally did not plan for that, but that's pretty nice. I enjoy that. Unintentional, but it's a good design. Sometimes I feel like I do these things and we're trying to reinforce it so that it doesn't rotate. And so that's why we're doing this perpendicular piece here. And then we're just gonna fold that underneath, call it a day. But this is a pretty simple and effective way of attaching stuff that's mounted on a straw boom. Again, we're probably going to build a fairing around this, but I don't know if we're going to take it that far because it is a rapid prototype. So we'll have to think of a project to work on after this. Maybe design a 6th prototype for the rapid series, but I don't know. We got to finish this one first. So we're doing that now. So I think we have one side on pretty nicely. This is like pretty well attached. I'm not gonna worry too much about that, but now we just have to try and duplicate the same effect on the other side. So this is what we have. This is approximately where we want the boom to be mounted on. Just gotta keep the vertical stabilizers high too, at the proper angle. So again, this is like not engineering at all. This might look technical, but it's not. It's like I'm just having fun and scratch building something from just raw materials. That's part of the appeal for this. Let's see here. Okay, so we grab a piece of tape like that, and then I just put it there. Kind of pinch it down into the groove between the two materials. Okay, so that didn't really work. It's a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's doable. It's not horrible. I'm gonna grab another one here and get this side. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. We do need like some sort of handle on this thing. So we will add that and it will be great. I'm afraid of yaw issues on this aircraft. It looks a little bit not aligned, but it's kind of hard to tell at this stage. Sorry about that. hard to tell. We'll have to flight test it to see for sure. But this is looking all right so far. Okay, looks good, looks good. And then here, tape that in place. And basically, methodically adding perpendicular strips to the main adhesive direction. So do that and wrap that around. Ooh. That's a little bit sketch. Just trim that real quick. Hopefully that. And released that edge. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so yeah, this looks fine. I'm gonna see if I have a template for the rapid prototype. Actually, I was going to rip off the handle on the YX10 on the Astra. So let me do that. I'm gonna transfer the handle from that plane to this plane because I already explained the issue with that plane in a previous stream. But let me turn on the lights real quick. Okay. So, alright. The problem with the Astra and the handle here, which is really well made, I don't think it's an issue. It's just, it's not serving any good purpose. If you try and throw this plane from this handle, it imparts a very intense rotational moment, like a pitch rotational moment. And so this actually makes the plane go like that once you throw it, which, as you can imagine, kills all the airspeed in the throw, which is not good. That's not good if you want your plane to fly. So I've resorted to kind of just throwing it like this, like holding it in the middle here, and hoping that my fingers clear the aircraft fast enough, you know, before anything happens, I guess. But this is the handle here that we want to remove, I suppose. It's not serving that much of a function anymore, and that's why we want to remove it. I might just cut it off and not worry about the tape because the tape is like overlapped with so many other things. But the idea is to transfer that handle to this new aircraft so we save time and we don't have to remake a part that we already made. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. This is a little bit painful because we spent a lot of time integrating this handle onto the Astra, but what are you gonna do? It doesn't do its job. You know, it doesn't serve a good purpose, and it ruins the side profile, in my opinion. So we're gonna remove it and, you know, just transfer it to the rapid prototype, which needs it. So that's approximately one side. Just have to cut this a little bit. Okay, and then we just gotta cut this last edge here, which is okay. It's not like, it's not horrible. It's a little bit difficult to cut through. Boy, that's rough. Okay, it looks like we got it off. There's like a diamond patch of tape that's like gone, but yeah, it's not a huge deal. We can tape over that if we really wanted to, but I don't think it's really necessary. Now we're just going to transfer this handle to this aircraft here. I think I'm going to put it here. That's approximately where it's balanced. So I don't know how this thing flies. I'm just gonna like toss it real quick to see. Okay, it's a little bit nose heavy, which is interesting. I didn't think it would be, but I guess it is. So I just gotta, sorry, there's a little scrap piece of tape. Okay, so, all right, so it's a little bit nose heavy. I think I'm gonna put it right about where the cord is. So the way I'm aligning this is that the trailing edge of the, or the, I guess the tip location, you know that little white piece there? Yeah, that is lined up with this little corner here. So nice. I'm just gonna transplant that on here. Transfer of parts. Dang. I don't think I've ever done that before. Usually when I add something to a plane, it's final. It's not up for debate. That makes sense. Okay. That did the trick. This is a pretty good handle. I just gotta reinforce the front a little bit more. Just gotta tape laterally like that. That'll bond both pieces of tape together really nicely, and then we should be all set. Look, it's a very simple design, and I think it's pretty much ready to go. I don't even want to build like a fairing for this thing. It's just, I don't think it's necessary. Like, it's gonna be a single-use plane. Like, it's not gonna be a museum piece, I don't think. So we're going to, I'm gonna cover this up just like how we did it with 004 rapid prototype. I'm just going to tape this over boy, that's a problem. Okay, there's a lot of wrinkling happening here, so I apologize for that. But, yeah. Okay, so it's increasing the angle of the stabilizer. Try and pull it to the other side here, but there's no guarantee here. This is anybody's guess where it's gonna go. Oh, that's kind of a fairing. It's kind of like a tape fairing. It's not necessarily the smoothest thing ever, but hey, it works. Alright, I'm gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna take that edge down. Okay, this is not necessary. Alright, we're gonna try and do the same thing here. Alright, so I'm gonna do that. And try and oof. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much done. And just gonna put this last piece across here like that before reinforcing it longitudinally. Okay, yeah, that's really annoying. Okay, and then just gotta go long to really smooth everything out. I just gotta do the inside now. Oh, I actually have an idea about what to do after this. It'll be a change of pace for sure, but I think it'll be good. So I'm just gonna finish up taping this and then call it a day for this rapid prototype. I don't think we're gonna work on any paper aircraft per se. This is going to be an interesting kind of development. This is a new type of thing that I'm probably going to test out. Because I really can't think of anything to do other than make another plane, which honestly, to me, it kind of feels redundant at this point. I want something new, right? Like a new experience, and I'm sure you guys, there's like one person watching right now, but like, you know, you guys are probably bored to death anyways, so I'm going to try something new. I'm going to work in CAD to digitize, not this design. I'm probably going to try and digitize the YX10 Astra design. So once I have a 3D model, that's when things get interesting, because then I get a 3D print, I can make molds, I can, you know, sell things, plans, geometries. I could sell the actual 3D geometry file, which, you know, that would allow you to 3D print stuff, but I don't think I'll sell the file. I'm probably gonna sell like actual models, whatever. This hobby ain't gonna fund itself, yo. So, anyways, probably gonna work in CAD after we finish this, which is pretty soon. We're basically done with this. I think the only thing left to do is cut out some control surfaces, which I will do right now. You know, I think this is pretty straightforward in terms of control surfaces. This plane does not have elevators of any sort. I guess the V-tail kind of counts, but it's not like a clear-cut control surface. We could cut into that and make it one, which I think I might actually do, simply because this plane doesn't have canards, doesn't have elevators, doesn't have anything. So I'm gonna try and give it a little bit more options in terms of control here. So I'm gonna cut up until that piece of tape, and then boom, done. And then just transfer that same length here, and then boom, done. So that'll allow us to have a little bit of elevator, right? This is not in any sense the actual elevator of the aircraft, because this is like a V-tail, but this going in should produce lift in that direction, or lift in this direction, downwards lift, which should pull the nose up a little bit. Again, this is like, in essence, it's almost a flying wing design, just with an extremely long front fuselage. So if you ignore that, it's basically a flying wing. And for flying wings, you need a little bit of reflex in the wing itself, a little bit of reflex in the cross section. And since we're working with pretty simple materials, we didn't actually define the cross section. The way we're going to do this is with a simple cut into the control surface here. So we're going to mark out like a 1 centimeter here, or 1.5 centimeter mark. Oh, all right. Yeah, I didn't have any lead deployed. That sucks. Okay, and I just got to keep it consistent on the other side. 1.5 centimeters mark, and then just You just cut forward until you reach that point. Which is good. And then you also do the same with this side. Just cut until you reach that point. So I actually don't know how this is going to perform until I flight test it, which I can't exactly do in this live stream. I mean, I could. I don't think you guys would get much out of it, but essentially we want this trailing edge to be up a little bit all the way. Again, we'll have to see what the baseline, how the baseline performs before we really make any adjustments here, but should be okay. It's not like this aircraft. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty sensitive to these changes. But then again, I could be wrong. I'm not like an expert in aerodynamics. Gets a degree in aerospace engineering, says he's not an expert in aerodynamics. That's my life right here. But honestly, that's true because I'm not a aerodynamicist engineer. I could have if I started off with a job that had that as the job description, but I'm not. I am a structural engineer. That's why I designed the hell out of these planes so that they don't break. Actually, we can even do that. We can curve in the inner edge here and kind of create a fake kind of dihedral angle. I don't know if that makes any sense. But the inside or near the front, it's pointed down more than in the back. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense because this is a little bit complicated. You have to imagine when you point down, you're forcing air down. I apologize for that. I live right next to a highway. So if you're pointing down, you're generating lift up, right? So at this point, you're generating a lot of up. And then as you go span-wise, you're reducing that up force, right? Does that kind of make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense, but I don't know. So the whole wing, if you think about it, there's a lot of lift here in the front, less lift in the back. Why do we want that? Well, given the configuration of the aircraft, right, the way it is currently, the center of gravity is actually right around this point right here, right? So I'm going to mark that. That's right about where it is, except, it's dead in the center inside the thickness of this aircraft as well. That's the center of gravity. If we produce too much lift in the back, that's going to push the nose down and our plane will just nosedive into the ground, which is not good. So by putting this in, we're changing the distribution of lift so that there's a little bit more in the front than in the back. Actually, in true flying wings, I don't know if Robert is watching this, but he's kind of the go-to flying wing expert. There is actually twist in the wing, which is a very subtle feature, but I think it's quite beautiful, but it's kind of hard to really achieve in a structural paper design, right? Because for me, internally there is a popsicle stick wooden spar that is reinforcing the structure so that it doesn't bend too much. So you could hold it by one wing and it won't break, right? It won't bend, it won't do anything. But in his designs, he tends to just fold the wingtip down here, which actually achieves the same effect. Right, so if you have a swept wing like this with part of the wing being behind another part of the wing, if you have more lift in the front, it creates a more balanced flying wing design, right? Because otherwise you have too much lift being in the back, which will make your nose dive down. So near the aft of the aircraft, you want to have kind of a pitch down or pitch up moment, which means that your control surface, your wing, has to point down a little bit near the tip, near the back, right? That'll enable a moment like that to cancel out some of the overall moment in the wing. I could go into aerodynamics, but I think most people here aren't necessarily interested in that. But that's kind of the reasoning behind this gentle fold here. This fold is really intended to increase the lift near the front, near the inner chord of this design, and it's really not intended to be too much, hopefully. But again, this is kind of hard to judge just by looking at it. You really need to flight test this to really get a feel for how it's going to fly. Right now, this amount, I think it's going to make it nosedive really fast. So I think the right idea here is to maybe allocate a part of the trailing edge that actually goes up, points up, so that it acts as a reflexed airfoil. So I'm thinking like half and half. So that's approximately going to be like 4 centimeters from the tip or from the inner chord. This trailing edge is almost exactly 8 centimeters. If you look at that, it's almost exactly 8. So if we cut like at 4 centimeters, that gives the back part of the plane equal amount of authority, I guess, as the front part. And again, this is going to be a little bit different because the area, first of all, it tapers. But if we assume like a constant, kind of just like a parallelogram shape, I want to say, if we assume that, then it should be proportional. So what I mean is that, how to describe this? Right, like you have area, so you have a force at a distance, and you have another force at a distance, and you're basically adding up the torque between those two areas, with regards to the pitch performance of the aircraft. So if we put the middle down a little bit, if we put the inner flap down a little bit, that increases the lift greatly, but we need to counter that forward pitching moment. So we need to add a little more here. I don't know. It's just I'm just trying to reason through this. I'm not very scientific about it, but hopefully you kind of get the idea of what has to be considered when you're thinking about these things. But yeah, we might also just have to rely on the vertical stabilizers going in a little bit to kind of pull the nose back out of a dive. But really, this is gonna have to be done after some sort of initial flight test, which we might do here. I don't know. Okay, that's not really working. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so again, I'm sorry, this is not very coherent, not very well put together presentation, but I'm just trying to describe what happens and what needs to be done. Actually, I could probably test it around this area. It's not going to be a comprehensive test, but yeah, so there's that pitch down tendency of the aircraft, which means I need to either shift the weight back, which I don't think is the problem. I think the problem is we don't have enough twist. But to add twist, we need this wing to go up. But if you go up, you don't have enough lift. So it's like, it's a catch-22. What are you going to do? So for me, I'm going to try cutting it at 4 centimeters. Okay, yeah, that's good. And I'm gonna also try and do the same on this side here. I'm try and keep it consistent. And instead of maybe 1.5, because that's kind of in proportion to the root chord here. At the tip, or at the midline here, this chord is less than the root chord. So we're probably going to cut less. I'm thinking 1 centimeter should probably do the trick. Again, this is not scientific. This is just based on gut feeling. So please be advised, I am not an airplane designer in any professional sense of that word. This is going to be kind of difficult to cut. Oh, that's not good. Okay. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. I cut, so it's going to be right about here. I'm going to cut up till that tape edge. Yeet. Okay, hopefully that's not too off axis. Okay, hopefully that's not too bad, but again, this inner bit has to go down to increase the lift a little bit. Again, we might change that. We might just reverse course on that, but for now, that's what I'm going to do. And then the outer panel here is going to go up to counter that moment. The wings are weird. This is why planes have additional control surfaces, but with this design we're essentially stripping everything away except for the vertical stabilizers. It's kind of like a pseudo flying wing, except the forward fuselage is extremely long. Hopefully this works. I don't know if it will, but nope, still nosedives a little bit. Let's look into adding ballast. So ballast is a fancy word for weight. For me, I like to use pennies because they're pretty cheap and affordable. They're literally 1 cent each, but they have a decent amount of metallic density, like weight to it. So I gotta see where it currently is, and then maybe shift the center of gravity back a little bit. So you might want to put it here. Actually, I want to make it symmetrical, so I'm going to put 2 pieces here, maybe. Actually, I got a better idea. I got some magnets, so that's actually even better, because it serves another function, which is you can prop it up on a stand somewhere. The only dangerous thing about this is that it's very strong, so you gotta be careful. gonna put together like 6 magnets. I think 6 should be enough. Whoa, okay, all right there, buddy. Sorry about that. So these magnets are very fragile in the sense that if you like let go and it hits the stack really hard, it'll just like shatter and pieces go flying, and it's not good. It's not a fun time. Would not recommend. Also, this is like very stubborn. Okay, here we go. 3 on that side, and I'm gonna put the rest of the stack over there for now. We're gonna add 6 here, and that ways we can actually make like a wire display stand of sorts, if we really wanted to. So it's like multi-function ballast weight, but it's a little better than just using plain coins, I guess. A trade-off is these magnets cost a little bit. I think I got the whole pack for like several bucks. That's not too bad, considering they are rare earth magnets. They're not very strong, like in terms of mechanical strength, but in terms of magnetic strength, they are pretty heavy, or pretty, strong. Pretty heavy, not heavy, pretty strong. There we go. So it was at this point, if you remember, we marked it. Okay, so now, I don't know why it's like still ahead, but we need to make it go back. The weight is an issue on this aircraft. So instead of taping it down, I'm gonna, that might have been a bad idea. I don't think we can remove it anymore. Crap. Yeah, you gotta slide it. Okay, best way to remove magnets is to slide them. If you slide them, it comes apart really easily. If you try and pull it directly, it's not gonna work. Like, you can't even get a fingernail under these things. They're so sharp. It's almost scary. Like, you could probably cut yourself on one of these things. So the idea behind putting it there was I wanted to like stack multiple magnets here to see how many magnets would cause the right balance to be in place, but turns out it's hard to remove once you do that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the stack right there. I'm just going to tape this set of magnets to the other side, and I'm going to hope that it does a good job at adjusting the CG so that it's not too nose heavy. So this aircraft is basically almost done. I just need to tune it for flight, and then we should be all set to go. So now, there is the possibility that magnetic forces acting on the magnet are changing the CG. Imagine there's a huge chunk of metal under my desk or something, and it's sucking on that magnet, and it's like pulling it back, so it's like I'm getting a false reading. But who knows? I'm just gonna test this. I'm just gonna like throw it right over there ish. Okay, so it's still nose down moment, still does that. Honestly, I have no idea at this point. Might just increase this kind of reflex profile of the airfoil here just to see what happens. But I think that should do the trick. It's not going to change the fact that it's nose heavy, but it'll help adjust the nose from going straight down. So I'm going to test that really quick. Okay, yeah, that's decent. That seemed to do the trick. You just need a little bit more up on the wingtips, and it's good to go. All right. 6 magnets and a little bit more throw on the wingtip surfaces here. That did the trick for us. Yep. So now it's just a matter of tuning it out. So if you have a little bit more inner flap, then you would need a little bit more outer wing leverage here. So yeah, I definitely need to tune this for outdoors flight, but I think this is looking good. It's looking very promising. It kind of reminds me of the X47 in a sense, of how clean it is, this design, and I'm excited to. All right, so it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. That sucks. I'm sorry for that, but hey, what are you gonna do? I already upgraded my internet to the max speed possible, and everything looks nominal right now. Yeah. Dropped frames. Oh, that's a lot of dropped frames. Jeez. Alright, I apologize for that. I have to maybe restart the stream. Let me know if there are any streaming issues. I might have to restart, but I'm not getting any comments. But maybe you guys can't hear me at all, but I don't know. But yeah, that's basically it for this Rapid prototype. Very simple design. Basically a flying wing, but with an extended forward fuselage. So it looks a little bit more interesting. Again, very, very simple in design. Okay, let's see here. It says open widget. Stream health. Okay, so a minute ago, experienced this problem. Oh, okay, stream health is excellent now. Okay, well, I don't know what I changed, but hey, that's good. All right, so, we basically finished the aircraft today. It only took 3 streams to finish this, so it's not too bad. It's got a little bit more weight in the back now. Actually, this doesn't look too bad. It looks alright. It doesn't look horrible. It's an interesting vertical stabilizer design. But this angle, oh man, look at that. It just looks, oh man, that's great. It's like a sleek wing. Just imagine that cutting through the air, right? A little reflex in there, a little flap. Oh man, this is gonna fly so good outside. I'm kind of excited. The only thing I don't really like about this is the black. It kind of stands out here, the boom here. But what are you gonna do? It's very lightweight. We're not adding much structure to increase the mass, but this should perform really well outdoors. I have a feeling. I'm excited. I'm excited to test it out, and yeah, we'll see how it does. I'll have to create flight videos for both this. Not both at this point. There's 3 airplanes that I need to make flight videos for. The 004 needs to be remade first of all, and then flight tests. So 04, 005, and then the X47. Definitely need to flight test that because it flies really, really nicely. Whatchamacallit? The Astra. The Astra is gonna be interesting. I'm not quite finished with it. Again, I'm procrastinating. Don't be mad at me. But I still need to do some finishing touches, but it's like mostly servicing at this point. It's like it's just taping some corners down, things like that, etc., etc. Covering this raw cardstock with tape. It should be all set there. But this is like my flagship project, so I'm not too excited. I guess I'm a little bit hesitant about flying this outdoors because if it gets damaged, it's like a lot of work, you know, that's being damaged, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. This could even just be like a desktop display model. I think it's pretty nice in that sense. Like, it's aesthetically okay for just display, but I would love to see this thing fly, which is why I need to make the finishing touches before, you know, I need to seal up everything before it's ready to go for flight. So see, like the trailing edge here is still open, it's not closed, so I need to fix that. I might do it now. Actually, that's probably a good idea to just kind of work on it now, but I kind of want to move on to a new thing, you know. I start many projects, finish few. That's kind of my personality here. I apologize for that. Actually, so for this rapid prototype 005, we do need some wingtip covers. So I will get that done. I think that shouldn't take very long. I think I have a predetermined design here. I just gotta find where it is. But I even have the white cardstock that I used for this design. Found it. Okay, so we just gotta make a little cover thing for this. If I can talk, I can totally talk. It'll be like that. Okay, and then we'll trim the excess away, but this will protect the wing tip from damage. The way we do that is we gotta trace this template, which is regular printer paper, onto a cardstock sheet, which I'm gonna zoom in here so you guys can see here. Again, sorry about that, it's not aligned or anything. Let me increase the brightness a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Alright, yeah, that should work. So I'm going to trace out 2 of these and then cut them out and then tape them on. So we're just like chugging through progress today. We're just like absolutely demolishing this plane. I don't know. Absolutely making progress. Look at that. Matches up pretty nicely. Reduces the amount of cuts that we need to make. Okay, so you guys can't really see. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna zoom in, move over a little bit. Okay, so this is good. Sorry, it's also like really warm today, and I'm like sweating. That's maybe TMI, but I figured I'd let you guys know it's a little toasty here today. Hey, there we go. That's good. Okay. Just need another one here. Shoot. Okay. Maybe something like that. Save an edge to cut. See, I'm lazy, so I do this, but it's also efficient for time and material usage. Eat. All right, here we go. Yeah, looks good. All right, just gotta snip those things out. Looks good, looks good. All right, and then like that, that's good. All right, we'll fold it in half and worry about that later, but geometry's done, cut out, ready to go. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, I'm not getting any comments recently. Is everyone okay? Like, how's everybody doing on this wonderful Friday afternoon? Yeah, just usually get a lot more interaction in the live chat feature, but hey, if you don't want to talk, that's cool too. I'm an introvert myself, but it'll make this session more interesting if people are engaged. Just saying. Alright. Looks good, and then you just like kind of fold this in half. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna fold it in half towards the side with the graphite. Oh, yeah, it's kind of toasty. Alright, I'm sweating. Alright. You did not need to know that, but now you do. I don't know. I have a weird personality. Sorry you guys have to see so much of that here, but that's kind of what happens when you stream for over an hour. Oh, I've been doing this for almost a year at this point, so there's a lot of my personality on the internet. So there we go. There we go. We're almost there. Here we go. So we're gonna put a piece of tape like this. Alright, it's gonna cover the front. I'm not too worried about the back because I'm probably gonna trim it. And we just cover the wingtips like this. It looks like a little interesting little bat wing with a little extension here. Almost kind of reminds me of the CFA 44 Nosferatu. It's like a little wing extension at the tip, but we're gonna trim this off. It's not a feature. It's an artifact of manufacturing, so it's not very desired here. But anyways, just gonna tape that real quick like that, and then oh my god, all right. Hey, that looks good. All right, and then magical moment where we just trim this off like that. And then we do the same for this side. Okay, that's kind of sketch. All right. It's not as clean as from the other side, but this is, again, a rapid prototype, so I'm not too concerned about quality here. I like this design. Have you made a red plane before? It says Benjamin Rogers. No, I have not made a red plane. because I'm assuming you're talking about the color. I don't really use many vibrant colors. I tend to stick with a neutral color palette for my cardstock materials. It's just kind of my style. In the very beginning, I started off with white, and that was because most paper was just, printer paper was white. But after I bought colored cardstock materials, I found that I really like white. Like, I would use white exclusively because it kind of stands out from like other man-made materials, right? Like, it's just, a white plane in a blue sky. That's like classic look. Gray is okay. It makes it look a little bit more realistic. But in terms of colors, red, no, not really. I would use that as sort of an accent, right? Accent color. So if there were like any moving parts internally that were made out of paper or plastic, I would use red for that. So like if I were to like 3D print some gears, I'd probably make those red. I would also make moving parts different colors. That's like the only part that I would actually make red. I mean, you could definitely go with like the entire fuselage skin and aircraft. You can make that red, but that's not really my style. I know like people enjoy it, but it's just not really how I do things. But also, like, there's a matter of if you leave it in the sunlight, in direct sunlight, the dyes in the cardstock start to disintegrate, and for orange at least, that leads to a very pale color. It's not very aesthetically pleasing. But with something like gray, over time it turns into a pale white color. It's still a neutral color. It just looks faded a little bit. So that's up to you. It's mostly a choice in aesthetics, but I can definitely see the appeal for red. It's like, for Iron Man, his suit is, hot rod red, right? In the first Iron Man movie where he's like, yeah, throw in a little bit of hot rod red. And then that was the Mark III at that point. The Mark I was a giant chonker of a suit. But yeah, Iron Man, that's like iconic though. Like if you want like a red aircraft, that's definitely a great inspiration is the Iron Man Mark III suit. But for me, I like neutral colors. I was actually thinking about experimenting with silver for this particular aircraft, but I don't think I will. I think this is like pretty balanced the way it is. I mean, I definitely could if I wanted to, but maybe we'll save that for Rapid Prototype 006. This is looking pretty good so far. It's a very clean design, clean sheet, clean lines, very simple. Like, it's basically a flying wing. Like, if you ignore the front half of this plane, it's like a flying wing with a little V-tail in the back. So that's essentially what this is, which is why it flies pretty well. Like again, earlier in the stream, we kind of tuned some of the flight characteristics of this thing. We adjusted the CG, we added 6 magnets in the back, so this is compatible with a wire stand, which I made one for the original Astra in the back there. You might see it. It's right there. Yeah, it's a little old. I might make a new one, but I'll definitely have to make one for the M1. But I have like a whole coil of like 33 feet long of I think it's like 14 or 16 gauge steel wire. I have like clippers, so I might make that. I don't think I'll do it on the stream. I might just do it off stream, but because in this stream I want the second half to be kind of a transition to a new topic. But this plane, I have a feeling it's gonna fly almost exactly, okay, maybe not exactly, but like pretty close to like to the X-47 in a way. It's highly efficient, right? There's not a lot of frills on this design. It's just a clean, simple fuselage, wing, tail. That's it. There's no canards, no additional control surfaces to create drag. It's very clean, and I'm excited to see this thing fly outside because it looks very sleek right now, but the true test is in actual flight, and see how it does there. It'll be interesting. This is a very cool design, in my opinion. It's I haven't built anything like this in a while. I think I did build one plane. This was in college, and if my roommate David, who is in California nowadays, I'm on the East Coast, he's in California. If he sees this, he might be like, "Oh, I know where you got the inspiration for this thing." It's I made this plane. It's kind of like an A10 in a way. Like, it's very durable and very strong, but it kind of disintegrated after a while, but it flew really nicely. It was like a flying wing design. Again, it's kind of like this. The vertical stabilizers were placed on the wing itself, and the forward fuselage was there. But there was a lot of reflex in that aircraft design, and I think the spars were not popsicle stick. They were made out of some type of plastic straw. So the thickness of that airfoil in that plane was pretty high. Like, you would expect it not to fly, but it actually flew. So I was pretty surprised. It actually flew really well too. That's why it's so memorable. Because David's, my friend, he's like, "Whoa, that flies really well. Like, did you intend for that?" I'm like, "No, I just like kind of scratch built something and flew it outside." That wasn't that was before the time of rapid prototypes. It was just a random plane that I made. It was not a YX design by any stretch of the imagination, but it was interesting for sure. It was definitely interesting. But yeah, this plane right here, this is inspired partly based on that, but also you might have seen this, but I already did like a sketch or two for this design. Alright, so this was 004, this was 005, just a quick sketch, and I was like, "Hey, that looks decent, why don't we make that?" And then we made it, and it's here. And it's amazing. It performs pretty nicely. Sorry, like, my mind is like kind of all over the place. As a person who gets excited by design, it's all over the place sometimes, but this might actually benefit from like a aluminum foil skin. But I don't know. I didn't plan for that in the original intent of this project. It's supposed to be a very simple project. But if I do cover it, I may just do like the center bit here, and then maybe this boom. So just like 3 strips here. Very simple. I don't want it to be like a huge science project where like I seal everything inside this aluminum foil. That's more of like a flagship project material. Like, I would allocate that to like a YX prototype rather than a rapid prototype, where the intent is to really fly the plane and like beat the heck out of it, even though it's pretty sturdy. I'd rather spend that material on like a flagship project, maybe the M2 Astra instead of the M1 Astra, the next iteration, right? I might do that, use all silver coating, or at least silver and like aluminum in bits and parts and panels, right? So that's the plan for Astra, but it's gonna be a while before I make an Astra M2. And I think you missed the beginning of the stream, but I was just giving an update to everybody that I am moving out of my apartment in the next month or two, next several months basically. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the next location I'm going to live in. But the intent is to start working on the next stage in the development of this channel, which is which is the introduction of RC aircraft. I'm probably gonna just buy one to start off, but eventually we will get to scratch builds, we will get to proper designs and go through all of that. It'll be an exciting new direction for this channel. I've uploaded one video so far for RC airplanes. That's the Icarus HYX-01 Heavy YX-1 Icarus. That's the naming behind it, Heavy YX. That's why it's HYX. It kind of looks weird, but it'll the name will stick once the plane is good. The plane itself needs to be good to make the name mean anything. But you know, I have some concept designs. Actually, I was going to show you guys earlier, but I just kind of got distracted on a tangent here. Yeah, these are some of the development sketches for the Astra. Some mechanism designs here. Oh yeah, that's the new concept for potentially Icarus 2. Well, it might be a RC design that's just different, like 00, or not 00, HYX-02. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. This could be that. This could be the Icarus. I don't know. But the idea is to build something like this, maybe. It's kind of similar to this in that it's a clean V-tail wing design, very few control surfaces, so should be aerodynamically pretty efficient. But this is kind of the initial sketches here. So there's several more comments here. Congratulations on your new home. Yeah, I'm excited to move in. It's a nice place. It's a little old, but with a fresh coat of paint, it'll feel new. It's next to a huge field. It's a little bit away. It's like the next street over, but it's negligible. Like, I could take my prototype there and fly it. It'd be no problem. Pretty excited for that. You know, set up a workshop and then start working on heavier projects like catapults, like, you know, just like just heavy duty projects that I would not be able to work on in an apartment setting because you can't use power tools here. You can't do anything. There's a lot of restrictions. But in that new home, I will be able to set up shop, which is exciting. Well, deal has to go through with the real estate people, but if it goes through, that's my new place for the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years. So pretty exciting stuff. RC SU-47 would be fitting tribute to your popular video of the SU-47. Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. It's just that the SU-47 is a forward-swept wing aircraft with canards, and that's not necessarily the most stable design to start off with in RC. I definitely plan on eventually doing a forward-swept wing aircraft. It's just, it's not a good plan form to start off with, especially because I don't have too much flight experience myself. So, you know, my plan is to get one of those Horizon Hobby trainer aircraft first. It's just a candy bar wing, straight wing across, propeller in the front, tail in the back, you know, just no frills, standard airplane design, right? Like, you gotta get one of those first as a baseline, and then work our way up from there, in terms of build, in terms of, you know, building the aircraft, in terms of there's all sorts of stuff. We'll work our way there. It takes years to get to that point, and I don't know if you guys will still be around by that point, but for me, this is kind of a journey, right? It's more about the journey of getting there, about learning, you know, different control, you know, radio control methods. There's stabilization, there's autopilot, there's GPS. It's like, it opens up a whole new kind of field. In a way, it's like, you know, you can add electronics all of a sudden into your designs, and that opens up so many possibilities, right? You can have, you know, specific mechanisms and actuations, and your planes can do things in mid-flight that you couldn't do with like a simple glider design, right? So it just opens up a whole world of possibilities. I want to explore that. I definitely will get to like something with a forward swept wing and canard because it's, you know, it's an exotic kind of interesting configuration. It's exciting, right? But we'll get there. We will definitely get there. It'll take some time to settle in, set up shop, and do that. I see that's fair to learn, then strap a King Tech 320 turbine to it. I don't know that specific model, but I am excited by the idea of making my own jet engine. My favorite hobby, jet engine. Yeah, it's those things can be very powerful and they can take you to new heights, like quite literally. It will propel your plane to very high altitudes, like thrusts and thermodynamics and power. Those are like, that's like the key to making an aircraft fly, is propulsion. Like without propulsion, you can't really do much unless you're, you know, riding thermals, right? You need some form of energy input to be able to fly. So actually designing and building a jet engine, that's kind of on my like to-do list, but that's like far into the future, at least 15 years out. Eventually I want to get there and make like a custom designed engine to power the aircraft, and because that's really a test of, do you understand physics? You're not just buying a propulsion unit, right? You're designing it from scratch. You're literally taking metal and forming it and machining it into the proper shape, and it converts fuel into kinetic energy, which is your plane flying through the air. So it's interesting. I have like a bunch of ideas, a bunch of projects that I'm interested in pursuing, but we need to build up our knowledge to get to that point, you know. It's a journey, and I'm excited to take that next step. Yeah, builds jet engine. Peter Streeple wants to know your location. Yeah, he I saw his video on the F-18 with the jet engine strapped to it. It's incredible. Those things are expensive. Like if you buy one with money and just, it's like $5,000, like $5,000 for like an engine, a single engine. And if you want like a dual engine aircraft, that's like $10,000 just in propulsion alone. That's like a car. Like you could buy a car for that amount. Which is why I'm kind of tempted to like invest in machinery and equipment instead, and potentially make my own jet engine at some point. But that's like way down the line. Exciting stuff, but just like the hobby world in general, like the modeling world is pretty exciting if you think about it. There's boats, right? You know, boats are pretty exciting to me. Like if you follow RC Flight Test or RC Test Flight, not sure his channel name. I think it might be Flight Test. Yeah, RC Flight Test. This is a dude living in like Seattle area. Or Utah, not sure. He does like videos all over the place, but he's on the West Coast basically. He makes really exciting, very interesting concepts and videos, and he relies on 3D printing a lot, but he makes these drones and drone ships, right? These boats that go out on the water, follow a GPS prescribed path. See, like that's the next step I want to take, is to get into electronics and that type of hobby, right? It's like there's a lot more room for invention, I feel like, in software, in avionics, in electronics. And so not only will I get to build planes that on a bigger scale, which means more details in more places, which to me, like, I live for details, so that stuff excites me. But it's like there's just so much, like, a world of possibilities, right, with this new hobby, with this new location too. Yeah, $3,000 to $4,000 used flight test. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I'd rather buy like a laser cutter or a CNC machine with several grand, and then make a lot of interesting parts that fit together to become an engine. You know, like why buy an engine when you can buy the tools to make an engine? That's, you know, kind of how I was raised, is like teach a man to fish, right? He'll be able to feed himself for a lifetime, kind of deal here. But yeah, that's the future. And sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent, but that's like the next big thing that I'm pretty excited about. Just getting out of this apartment, man. Like, this apartment is limiting. Like, I could create all the gliders in the world, but it's not going to allow me to do new things, learn new things, because gliders, they're basically mechanical by nature, right? It's structurally, you gotta make it sound, and that's pretty much it. There's not much else you can do. You can make some mechanisms, but it's mostly mechanical, right? The next step is to have control over the flight, right? To have propulsion, actual propulsion in your aircraft. But that's like in the coming months, and have to build up to that point, set up shop, and we'll get our way there. I'm excited to share that journey with you guys. This is kind of a new development area, is RC airplanes and things like that. So yeah, I should make a ramjet. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, going hypersonic, I don't think I can, but might as well try at some point, I guess. I might have to move to the Midwest to be able to test that. Can't really do that here. But exciting stuff on the horizon, guys. Exciting stuff. It's just, yeah, it takes time to get there. So I think I also mentioned early in the stream that you know, during this transition to the new location where I will be able to set up, you know, a dedicated workshop in studio space, during this transition I might stop streaming for a bit, and you know, that's understandable, because when you move you have to, you know, dedicate time to pack things, organize things, and then move it. So it's going to be a transition, but once I'm settled in the new place, I will definitely continue streams for not just build sessions and open studio sessions, but I might actually create like a new channel for that, because it's taken up a lot of space on this channel. But you know, when I actually upload a video, I feel like it doesn't get through to people, because people don't necessarily click on the streams, which lowers the rate of click-through for videos as well. So I might dedicate a new channel just to open studio sessions, kind of as an auxiliary channel, and then this main channel I'll start to make build update videos, kind of similar to you know, there's this channel on YouTube that makes not RC, he makes like Lego airplanes, but like to scale, and he makes these build update videos, which are very short, very concise, probably like 5 to 10 minutes max, but he does those, and I think I'll start to adopt that new style of video to be able to convey information in a timely manner, because I know not everyone will be able to watch the whole 2-hour stream straight through to the end. You know, that's insane. That's too much to ask of somebody. So, but I do want to document that process, so I'll probably have a new channel dedicated for that, and you know, just have build update videos. For example, like the Astra, right? Like, you know, with this aircraft, today we built the canards, built the internal mechanism. We, you know, I'll do kind of update videos like that. It should be shorter, easier to edit, right, than full-length videos that, you know, go through the design. But you know, it's kind of the idea that I have going forward, is periodic updates, and then when it's complete video, right? But yeah, it's just kind of thinking about how to convey these builds and progress and excitement in a different manner, in a better way, so that more people can be able to see it, which is not only good for this channel, but good for growth, right? You want to grow this channel to a point where, I don't know, you could be like Peter Struple and you know, just live off of YouTube, but I don't think I'll get to that point anytime soon. But to get to that point, you do need to put in, I feel like I would have to put in effort into storytelling and the media side of things, because that's what people are interested in. It's not the process necessarily, which is unfortunate because that's where a lot of the art is. But people want to see progress videos instead of full-length live streams. So I was like, I would tend to agree with that. I like update videos too. I don't think I would sit through a 2-hour stream, but that the people who do like sit through a 2-hour stream, those people are probably likely to be interested in these open studio design sessions more, and so it makes sense to have a separate channel for that. So that's just kind of my reasoning here. I'll be sure to communicate that if I do end up doing that. I could just stream here and have like my page be full of live streams instead of like video icons, but I'm trying to find what works for me, right? To produce better content, to get more people engaged, to make more people excited about airplanes and airplane design and RC and just modeling and building stuff, right? That's kind of what this is about. So for growth, I think that's kind of where we want to head. Okay, so it says here YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. That sucks. Not really sure how to fix that, but alright, stream is healthy again. Nice. Alright. Cool. So now that you guys kind of know the plan going forward, the logistics going forward, I'm going to move to a different project for a little bit. Because I'm transitioning in like a month or two to the new location, I figured it'd be nice to do something that doesn't involve all of this setup. So this is not necessarily hardware, but I do want to work on this and show you guys kind of my process for 3D modeling in CAD. I think that is also a worthwhile thing to live stream. It's also kind of design, but it's not like physical object. We're not making anything, but it's still an important step. I need to like refresh myself on CAD. It's been such a long time since I've made like a full out CAD model of anything really. So I show you what I have and what the next steps are, and go through that process. So I'm going to move this camera, this main camera, forward a little bit. I'll put this plane right here so you guys can see. But nice thing about OBS is that you're also able to stream your desktop, which is what I'm going to do next. So again, sorry about this. This is an experimental thing. I'm testing out new ideas here. Seeing what people are interested in. Might as well do this CAD thing for a little while. Okay, yeah, that's weird. Okay, yeah, the magnets are sticking to this to this little tweezer thing that I have here. So you could hold this and go. I don't know. Sorry, just got distracted a little bit. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to grab my keyboard. I need my keyboard to be able to do this. Alright, so I'm just going to put this down closer here. I'm probably just going to use one screen. I'm going to use my right screen here. Yeah, we didn't really use the secondary camera angle today, but no big deal. You guys get a better view top down anyway. So for the rest of this stream, which is approximately 15 minutes, it's not too much time, I'm just going to go through kind of what I have for the YX10 Astra for the in terms of CAD model, right? So this, we're talking about this plane right here, that you guys have seen in countless other videos here, or live streams. I'll just leave this camera in a position like this so you guys can have a view of that, but this is new, sorry about that. Alright, I'm going to go to my desktop. Actually, I'm just gonna reduce that and then do that. Sorry about that. Okay, right desktop. Okay, you guys can see my OBS window. I'm just gonna minimize that. So we have kind of what we. Okay, actually, just move that over here so I can kind of see what's happening here. This is the Astra in a digital format. This is kind of what I've done so far in terms of digitizing the design, and the whole idea behind digitizing this aircraft design in a 3D model is that you can 3D print in the future, you can create molds, you can do a lot more with the design once it's been digitized, right? It's kind of the idea here. But essentially what we did so far was on the XY plane, so let me align it like this. On the XY plane, which is the default kind of sketch plane here, we drew the half the plan form here. Right, so actually I can probably show that plan form reference. I gotta unsuppress that. If you unsuppress that, you'll see that I imported my hand-drawn sketch into this model on that plane and aligned so that the tail cone here is approximately at the 000 coordinate. And it's looking good. It looks all right. And then I created an actual sketch. I believe I called it plan form starboard, right? This is the right side plan form. Just kind of followed this edge here all around. So you'll notice that I did fillet some of this, and that's possible because it's a 3D model now. It's not a paper design, so some of these details are resolved a little bit differently. I rounded a lot of these corners, which I might change back, but who knows. So you do a plan form sketch like that. I'm just gonna hide this real quick. Suppress, all right. Looks good. And then you do the same with the side profile. And this helps you establish kind of a, two planes that are perpendicular to each other, right? They're kind of like, crisscross like that. But it gives you an idea of the overall footprint of the aircraft. So what I've done is I have done an iPad sketch. This was done in Procreate. I exported the JPEG, imported it into NX here, aligned it so that it was at the right point. The tail here being at the 000 coordinate system, or coordinate, not coordinate system. And this is what I have right now. Right, do a sketch like that. This sketch 2 right here is the upper profile upper, and then there's a profile lower as well. That kind of follows the bottom edge here. So you notice that when my cursor goes over the sketch, it turns a different color. Right, so it looks good. It deviates from the original design here, and this sketch basically supersedes this concept sketch, right, and kind of tries to reflect what we actually made, which was kind of a rounded shape here, which you can kind of see here in the back, right? It's kind of a smooth kind of arc going across like that. I tried to smooth out the front here where the landing gear is stored, but also this landing gear is like not in the right place, I feel like. So actually, this might be wrong. This sketch, I might have to adjust this to come out here in the front, but I did what looks right to me, and this is what I have. I might adjust that sketch, but who knows. I'm gonna suppress this for now so that it's not distracting us. But otherwise, this is pretty simple. What I have so far. It took a while to get here because it's been a while since I've done any 3D modeling. Yeah, I'm just looking at chat. There's not much going on there, but so I think the next step after creating the that was like the XY and the YZ plane. Right, so these two perpendicular sketches. I made sure that this corner was touching. That's like a tricky bit about NX, is that it doesn't necessarily click features or geometries together. I'm sure it's a setting somewhere that you can adjust, but it just doesn't do that on default, so it makes it really hard to create these surfaces. I spent a lot of time trying to debug why I wouldn't create the surface, but turns out that's the problem there. The next step after creating those two perpendicular sketches that give you the general footprint of the aircraft is, going through and cutting the aircraft at different locations. And I did this at locations where there was like a corner of some sort, so A, B, C, D. So you'll notice that it kind of just sections through the length of the aircraft and gives you a plane upon which you can draw the cross section. So again, this is like 3D modeling in a nutshell. You have to draw cross sections to be able to define a certain shape, right? So this is sketch 4, which is on cross section A. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So you can adjust these curves, and the surface that it's made, that's made from this curve will change accordingly. So you can kind of adjust the splines and then change the curvature, and it's pretty interesting like that. But after creating the sketches, which took a while, again, you have to make sure it starts on this curve, ends down here, and it's a little bit annoying because this top curve is like a spline, so it doesn't exactly, like the point doesn't exactly rest on that curve. It's like a little bit off, but within a certain tolerance, NX does recognize it as intersecting, which is good. That's good for our modeling purposes, but you'll notice that there's also these little wrinkles in the surface. So what I'm trying to do right now is kind of remove that, remove these kind of artifacts here. And sorry, I just saw like a question from Benjamin Rogers here. So he asks, can you make one half of the model, then mirror or generate the other half? Yes, that is my intent. That is why I'm not doing the same thing to the other side. The idea is that once I get one half of the aircraft, top and bottom down, I can just mirror that over to the other side. Same thing with the vertical stabilizers and landing gear, back landing gear. The nose gear will have to be done manually because there's only one of them. It only makes sense to do it manually, but because it's not much to mirror there. It's already pretty much centered. So yeah, you can mirror geometries in NX. In most CAD softwares, I would say you can mirror things and pattern things pretty easily. And that's the idea here, is to do that because that'll create a consistent end product. We won't have like slight deviations, right? The whole idea behind CAD is to use the computer to do most of the work. And by mirroring, we are saving ourselves time and telling the computer to just copy the thing, but flip it, put it on the other side. So yeah, it's looking all right so far. So I think we're just about out of time here. Got like 5 minutes left, so I can talk for a little bit more. But I want to make this smooth, and there's no way of doing that with the current way I have the cross sections laid out. Because these cross sections lie at these corners. I didn't think about this too much. I thought it would just go through smoothly, but it doesn't actually do that. There's like a little bit of a dimple here. So my new plan is to add additional cross sections, not in these perpendicular planes to the aircraft axis, which is the y-axis here. I actually want to create sketches along the parallel to the YZ plane. So that would be parallel to, let's see here, profile. profile, upper, yeah. So in this plane, right? So in terms of where I'm going to place the sketches, I'm going to place it like that, distanced away from this plane, right? At this location here, and then this location. And then by doing that, we can kind of, you know, do this same process, but like this way instead, right? Which should be less creases, fewer creases. I mean, it should make it a little bit cleaner. I'm hoping that it does the trick, but we'll see. I really hope I can get like a very smooth surface here. You'll notice that this surface right here, this corner, right, like it's light here, it's dark here. That means it's like kind of a blended transition, right, going in there. But with the new sketch, it'll be kind of a hard edge here, which looks a little better going backwards, not backwards, going along the axis of the aircraft, the longitudinal axis. Having creases this way looks a little bit more aerodynamic than having creases like this, right? So that's kind of my reasoning behind that. That's kind of the next step in the modeling process, is to establish those planes and then, you know, create lines and splines that go there. Make sure these cross curves join up to that kind of cross section. And once all that is set, then we can create a nice smooth surface here. But yeah, this is kind of what I have so far. I just wanted to share with you guys. This is not a perfect surface. You notice that little gap there. This is why I want to kind of revisit the way I surface model this. But it's looking all right so far. The basic idea is there. It's just a matter of making it better. So, but once you do that, once you make it good digitally, you can print this. You can, you can even slice through here in terms of, you can clip section and then view cross sections, and you can actually just like export those cross sections, and then you have geometry for like how to remake this model in real life. So this is exciting stuff. This is the next step in just the modeling hobby. It's to digitize stuff, use computers, digitize things, use 3D printers, use computer aided tools to make better end products. It's still going to have a level of hand finish and design, because these splines, the way that they are kind of made, is kind of based on your design sketches and drawings. It's just you want to make this design a reliable source material, right? And that's what this model is for. So actually I can show you guys really briefly before I end this stream kind of what one of these sketches looks like. If you look at this, it's a whole bunch of control points, and you're essentially smoothing out, you're drawing kind of like a line or curve between these points here. And then these points were defined by that initial concept sketch. I just clicked several points here, make sure it's smooth. Too many points causes it to be a little wobbly. So it's like a little bit of an art, right? This is applying spline locations, like, you have your poles, and then it smooths things out in between the poles. It's kind of like lofting the spine of an aircraft here. So you tape down a section here, tape down a section here, tape down a section here, and the straw actually creates the curve, right, along the back. In a similar kind of way, it does that, the software does that, right? It calculates what curvature is the least amount of, there's a formula for it. I'm not going to get into the weeds of that, but point is, there's still an element of handcrafted geometry in this design. So again, just wanted to show you guys kind of what I've been up to here. Press home, it zooms back into this isometric view. This is a very nice software. This is like expensive. I'm not going to show you guys how to get it, but if you can get it, it's a very good 3D modeling software. It's like industry grade CAD. Benjamin Rogers says, can you use a 3D scanner to map the actual aircraft and import that into a CAD program? Yes, you can. Problem is, I don't have a 3D scanner. I know my iPhone 12 Pro Max has a LiDAR scanner, but the resolution is not high enough for something as small as my glider Astra prototype here. There are other methods for which to grab 3D geometries, like photogrammetry, where you take a bunch of JPEGs as input files. Like you rotate the model consistently, and you take a bunch of JPEGs and you throw it into a computer software. It calculates the shape for you. That's amazing. That's a little bit extra for me. I don't know if I want to do that. And if I do that, it's like, how do you create like a CAD, like a perfect idealistic model of what you designed, right? There's a question of that, but I might explore that in the future. There's a lot that you can do with computers and computing and 3D modeling and printing and things like that. Definitely want to explore that as I transition to my new location here. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. Sorry it's like not like a usual stream in any sense. We did finish up our rapid prototype 005. It's looking very good. Looks like it's gonna fly really well as well. It's a very clean design, very simple design. Excited to film a flight test video for that, potentially at the new location as well. But it's looking good. Probably gonna do this work on this CAD model in the next couple of streams. It's something familiar, you know what to expect. Like want to create Astra, the shape, right? So oh, sorry about that. Switched camera right there. But yeah, this is the next step. We'll just work on this, and I don't need my complete setup to do this. I just need a webcam and my desktop, so I can just do this in bed even, or at a different location. But hopefully you guys enjoy this and learn something new, right? So we'll go through the process of editing this sketch and trying to model this next time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Get the vaccine so that everybody can return to normal life. It's been a year at this point, almost a year for me in terms of streaming. I started May 1st, 2020, and I think we're gonna reach 1 year at least. Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great evening. Have a great Friday evening. Thanks for watching. Alright, gotta end this stream, but like, need a little bit of delay so that I don't awkwardly end this. So, talk to you guys next time. Work on your own projects. Tinker, make stuff. Bye.